In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 nuances, quirks, maybe even annoyances inside a ConvertKit that I hear a lot of customers and get clients asking me about, so I'm going to share them with you. I'm Jason Resnick of NurtureKit, NurtureKit.co, and look, with every sort of platform out there, there are going to be nuances or quirks or things that happen that you might find challenging, frustrating, or otherwise. And so hopefully in this video, if you run into any of these things or encounter them moving forward, you know exactly what to do. So let's dive into it. The first one. The first one is liquid code, and specifically the spacing around it. Now, liquid code is the code that you inject into emails that makes it personalized and dynamic. And the rendering engine on the back end inside of ConvertKit will then grab that code and spit out content for you, especially when you use tags and if-else statements. There are going to be spacing issues, and you want to be mindful of that, because otherwise you're going to get big amounts of spaces in between your content, and it's not going to look right. To solve this problem, putting everything on one line will most likely solve 95% of the issues and the spacing issues that you have. However, there may be some cases where a more in-depth technical solution, meaning more code, will help solve that. Now, if you have that problem, go ahead and drop it in the comments. I'd be happy to help you out. But for the most part, if you put all of the code on one line, it'll look the way that you want it to. So that's number one. Number two is something that isn't really talked about that I feel like, well, at least from my clients and my experience, people get frustrated really bad on it. Really, people get up in arms about it. What happens is that there are restrictions. There's a limit to how many triggers or entry points into a visual automation that you can do, and that's 5. ConvertKit does document this, and you can see it in their documentation right up top that they say that the number is 5. However, there's no warning or any visual cue that once you hit 4, that there is going to be a limit on the next one. And look, this gets frustrating when you especially start to grow, and not even grow that big, but you use email in a way where it starts to add more and more entry points into a visual automation, let's say for a lead magnet that you want to send out in multiple different ways. So you have your opt-in on your homepage, you might have a joint venture newsletter swap kind of deal thing, you run webinars, you have a Facebook group, you do content upgrades with different articles on your website that have different calls to actions. I mean, I just hit 5 or 6 right there, and I didn't even talk about the various different pop-ups or slide-ins or landing pages. So you want to be mindful of that limit. The good thing is that, well, rules has an unlimited number of triggers, so you can do all of those, and then the action is just applying one tag or 2 tags depending on what your needs are. Now, I call them driver tags, and I will link up a video above that explains a little bit more of the driver philosophy and why it's the ultimate setup for your subscribers to flow through your account. Now, speaking of rules, let's talk about number 3. Number 3 is multiple rules colliding. I can't say for certain how this happens, but I do see a trend when it comes to trigger links. Now, trigger links are those links that you generate sending an email with a link in it, and then you want to apply a tag to. And rather than doing it inline and clicking that checkbox and then applying the tag, you want to actually create the rule first, and then use that rule inside of all of the emails where you need this trigger link to happen. The manual way of doing it, for whatever reason, even if it is the same tag and link combination, when you do it manually, it's going to create multiple rules inside a ConvertKit. And when that happens, sometimes unexpected results happen. Sometimes subscribers get the tag or they don't get the tag, and then things may or may not happen. So you want to be a little bit aware of that. And the easy fix is to just create the rule first and then go ahead and apply that in the email itself. Now, number 4 is a big one, and I don't quite get at all why this is the way it is. And maybe if ConvertKit, you are watching this, maybe we could figure out a better way to display something like this. But it seems to cause a lot of heartache and frustrations and a lot of questions, more so than anything else, when people try to start to analyze their sequences. And so what I want you to do when you start to analyze your sequences is not to look at this number for your unsubscribes. What this tells you is that there is 198 people, subscribers, who went through this entire sequence at some point in their journey with you and unsubscribed. If somebody went through this sequence 6 months ago, a year ago, and then decide to unsubscribe today, they will actually be counted in this. Now, I don't know why that is. I feel like it's not helpful at all, especially in the case of welcome sequences and sales sequences and things of that nature. I mean, in the case of a welcome sequence, everybody goes through it that comes into your account. So this is just really going to be the total number of unsubscribes on your account. So I don't see why this is a helpful thing. To remedy this, you want to pay attention to the individual email unsubscribes, and you can tally it up and then you can take action on it. And then number 5, the final nuance, is sometimes when you paste something from another source and you're not writing the emails directly into ConvertKit, you're going to get this pop-up. And it says format as Markdown. It looks like you're using Markdown. Would you like us to auto format your paste? I don't know how many people outside of the developer community, maybe even the writer community, that know what Markdown is. And this pop-up can be a little confusing. Now, what it really means is that when you copied something, it brought with that copy some formatting. It could be a link, it could be bold, it could be bulleted items. Those sort of formatting have specific ways in which to render, right? And so when you render something in an email, especially when something is being displayed back to you, well, it could look a little ugly if you don't take the proper formatting. So if you click on yes format, then it's going to actually bring in what you intend, but it could also bring in and overwrite your email template settings as well. If you choose no paste as usual, well, it's going to kind of take it in its most basic form. And then when that happens, you're going to need to sort of massage it, but your email template formatting will actually take effect, right? And that's probably what you want. If you do this and you see that kind of pop up, you want to send a test email to yourself to make sure that when it lands in the inbox, the formatting is right before you send it off to your recipients. So I'm curious. Let me know in the comments. Have you encountered any of these things? Or is there something that you found that is a sort of a nuance or a struggle or a frustration inside of ConvertKit? Let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to maybe explore it a little bit with you and also let others know about it as well. If this was helpful, go ahead and smash that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. Click that red button down below and click that bell icon so that you do get notified the next time a video drops. And when you treat your email list like humans, amazing transformations happen.